So, have you ever thought about this? That our earliest experiences, like the ones we might think are long gone, forgotten,
Hmm.
they might actually be really deeply shaping who we turn out to be as adults.
Oh, absolutely. It affects, well, pretty much everything.
Right, like our emotional reactions, how we handle stress, even our physical health.
Exactly. It's like this kind of secret history stored right inside us, influencing things without us always realizing.
Yeah, a hidden history. Okay, so today we're going to do a deep dive into this. We're looking at the insights of the Swiss psychoanalyst Alice Miller.
Alice Miller, yeah,
Yeah.
a really significant figure. We're focusing on her book, The Truth Will Set You Free.
That's the one. And specifically through a review by Carol Redding, which adds another layer.
A very powerful review connected to real-life experience.
It really does. So our mission here is to kind of unpack how these childhood experiences, things like neglect or punishment,
The tough stuff.
yeah, how they can create what Miller called emotional blindness and what that actually means, how it impacts us, society even.
The ripple effects, yeah.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, what are the paths to healing, to finding our, authentic adult selves?
And that's the critical part, isn't it? This isn't just sort of navel-gazing about the past.
No, they're at all.
It's about understanding the deep, deep roots of why we act the way we do as adults, the challenges we face, and crucially, how we can break these cycles.
Cycles that can go on for generations.
For generations, exactly, and
Yeah.
have huge impacts. And this idea, which Redding's review highlights, that modern neuroscience actually supports Miller here.
Right, the anatomic memory idea.
Yes, that these early experiences are literally embedded in our anatomic memory. It's not just a metaphor anymore.
Wow, so it's physiological.
It really is.
But that concept, anatomic memory, really sets the scene, doesn't it? And Miller's core argument, the sort of foundation, is about the direct damage that violence and early neglect cause. Not just for the child who experiences it directly, but like a ripple effect, touching everyone's lives.
Yeah, it's pervasive. It's not just isolated incidents affecting isolated people.
Exactly. And she uses this really striking comparison, doesn't she?
Oh, the Adam and Eve one. Yes.
Yeah. Comparing kids taught that neglect or punishment is for their own good to Adam and Eve, she says, like Adam and Eve, the price they have paid for the love given them by their parents is unconditional obedience, blind faith.
The voluntary renunciation of knowledge and personal convictions. In short, the abandonment of their own true selves. It's powerful stuff.
It really is giving up your core self for, quote, love.
That parallel is pretty stark, isn't it? Suggests a kind of fundamental betrayal. And what's so compelling now is how science is catching up.
How so?
Well, work like Magic Trees of the Mind by Marion Diamond and Janet Hobson, it really supports Miller's point that our earliest childhood experiences are literally embedded in our anatomic memory.
So it's not just the psychological scar,
Yeah.
it's in our biology.
Exactly. Think about it. The trauma isn't just a bad memory you try to forget. It's potentially written into how your body functions, your health, stuff you wouldn't consciously connect.
That's huge.
It is. And the implication is that these embedded experiences change not just our emotional development, our social skills, but our actual physical development too.
Our bodies themselves.
Yes. Miller puts it like this. The consensus is that early emotions leave indelible traces in the body and are encoded as information that will have a serious impact on the way we feel and think as adults.
Although those effects normally remain beyond the reach of the conscious mind and logical thought. So it's running in the background.
Precisely. Like a hidden operating system influencing us constantly, unconsciously.
Okay, but what's really unsettling is how this can then ripple outwards in negative ways.
Right.
Miller suggests the defenses we build against that old pain, they can actually cause this emotional blindness and paradoxically lead us to hurt ourselves or others.
It's a tragic irony, isn't it? The protection becomes the prison, blinding us.
Yeah. Does she give like concrete examples of how that plays out?
Oh, absolutely. She looks at historical figures, biographies. She shows how a child internalizes harsh treatment, even from parents who think they're doing the right thing.
Well-intentioned, maybe, but still damaging.
Exactly. And then later, that internalized violence gets projected outwards, onto their own kids, or sometimes she argues, onto society as a whole. She even points to things like World War II as a possible large-scale example.
Wow, that's a massive claim, linking childhood trauma to geopolitical events.
It is, but she builds the case for how these individual psychological patterns can aggregate. And she doesn't stop at individuals or history.
Where else does she see this pattern?
She points to 6 fields where we should expect precisely the opposite. Places like medicine, psychotherapy, politics, the legal system, religion, even biography writing itself.
Fields meant to help or bring clarity.
Right. She argues they can inadvertently perpetuate the very blindness they should be fighting.
That's quite an indictment, especially for medicine and therapy. What's her specific take there?
It's pretty sharp. She says, probably the single most important factor militating against success in therapy, presumably, is doctors' fear of reviving their own childhood traumas.
Their own stuff getting in the way.
Yes. And then, unfortunately, doctors frequently ward off such fears by diverting them onto their patients and instilling fear in them.
So instead of helping the patient face their fear, they project their own fear onto the patient.
That's the implication. It raises a huge question about systemic blockages to healing, doesn't it? If the healers themselves might be carrying unacknowledged trauma.
It makes you wonder if acknowledging this is seen as, like, taboo in the medical world, as she suggests, then what hope is there? How does Miller see a way forward? That sounds kind of bleak.
It could sound bleak, but she does offer a path. She believes patients can find the courage, they can express all that internalized stuff, the fear, the pain, the anger, the unmet needs.
Okay, but how? What makes that possible?
There's a key condition. It needs the encouragement of someone who does not share those fears, or who has already experienced them and recognized them for what they are.
Ah, so you need someone who gets it, who isn't scared by it because they've maybe been through something similar or worked through it.
Exactly. A guide who isn't triggered by your pain because they face their own. This links back to her point about the therapist's own emotional development being crucial.
So it's not just about clinical training, it's about their own journey. Makes sense. And she identifies specific roles for this kind of support, right?
Yes, 2 key roles. First, the helping witness. That's someone who's there for a child while they're endangered, offering positive support in the moment.
Like an intervention.
Right. And second, the enlightened witness. This is someone who offers unconditional support to the adult who's dealing with the long-term fallout from a traumatic childhood.
Okay, helping witness for the child, enlightened witness for the adult.
Precisely. And she's clear, these witnesses don't have to be therapists or professionals.
Just empathetic people.
Could be. But she does note that people in fields like medicine and teaching often have more opportunities to be these witnesses given their roles.
Right, positions of trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this ties into her argument that modern therapy needs more than just cognitive understanding. It needs that emotional recognition of the person's real history and the presence of an enlightened witness who's confronted their own past.
Someone who's walked the path.
Yeah. It's about having a guide who truly understands the territory.
And this brings us perfectly to Carol Redding's own story, The Reviewer. Her experience really grounds all this theory, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
And her background, surviving both cancer and child abuse, gives her perspective so much weight.
Definitely. It's not just an academic exercise for her.
Not at all. And she actually reports finding these enlightened witnesses in her own life, specifically within Kaiser Permanente, which is pretty remarkable.
It shows it's possible, even within large systems.
Yeah. She talks about her first one, Dr. Robert Hogan, her family doctor when she was fighting cancer, like really close to death. He didn't just treat the cancer. He apparently encouraged her to explore the history underlying the disease.
Wow. That's insightful for a family doctor dealing with a physical crisis.
Isn't it? And that intervention, years later, 19 years later, spurred her to dig deeper, leading her to another anonymous physician there.
Her second enlightened witness.
Exactly. And this person helped her gain greater insight into both her own repressed history and the impact it has had on her adult life. It's amazing how one person's insight can echo down the years.
It truly is. And Redding says that thanks to these witnesses, she was able, in Miller's words, to give up even very old projections.
Projections, like blaming others or seeing her own stuff in them.
Yeah, essentially transferring her own unresolved feelings onto others.
Huh.
She was able to let go of that and finally find peace.
Yeah.
It really shows the power of that supportive, understanding presence.
Finding peace after all that.
And it hammers home Miller's point about the damage done when someone refuses to acknowledge their own past, consciously or not.
The denial keeps the cycle going.
Right. And conversely, Miller notes and Redding's story supports this. Although scientific medicine no longer denies that our bodies store information, it is frequently at a loss to decipher those experiences.
Medicine knows the body remembers, but doesn't always know how to read the message.
Exactly. Yet, Miller continues, we know of instances in which severe physical symptoms vanish when one succeeds in surmounting such experiences.
So, facing the emotional truth can actually lead to physical healing. The mind-body connection, starkly put.
Undeniably.
So practically speaking, for someone listening who resonates with this, Miller is saying that facing the denied truth is key.
Yes, it helps understand how being a helpless victim as a child can lead to adopting that same emotional posture of a victim in adult life, even when you're not helpless anymore.
Reacting to current challenges as if you were still that powerless child.
Precisely. Miller writes, the denied truth will be with us wherever we flee. You can't outrun it. But if we face up to it, we have a chance of finally recognizing what happened, what didn't happen, and what has forced us to end up living our lives in opposition to our most profound needs.
Facing it gives you the chance to finally live authentically, aligned with your real needs.
That's the path to freedom, she outlines.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows the incredible, often hidden power of our early childhoods.
Shaping our emotions, our health, even societal patterns is profound.
It really is.
But the key takeaway, I think, is also the power of awareness and the crucial role of these witnesses, people who offer support, understanding, who can bravely guide someone through confronting their past. It's about healing and true self-discovery.
And that knowledge isn't just theoretical, it's practical for all of us. So a final thought for you listening, considering how deeply this anatomic memory, this or cellular history, stores our past, what might be a first step for you? Maybe in uncovering some of those hidden traces in your own life. Or perhaps, could you be an enlightened witness for someone else? Someone who needs that unconditional support to maybe, finally, find their own peace.